Well, you guys certainly did a thorough job going out and exploring the toy market in the area. The first thing I noticed looking at the table is the abundance of these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fellas. They seem to be all over the table. I see weapons, games, toys. There's even Turtles Craft Dinner. Obviously, they're going after the children in a very big way. Maybe you could start, Eric, and tell us something about the Turtles.
Well, there's probably never been anything like the Turtles in either the cartoon industry or the toy industry. It's a multi-million-dollar business. It might get to be $1 billion by the time they're finished. It's certainly not waning any. The Mutant Ninja Turtles started as a cartoon back in 1988. And at the beginning, it was just the violence of using martial arts between these half-men, half-turtle creatures and all of the villains that they would encounter. But slowly but surely, through using their hero or their guru, who is a rat named Splinter. You heard it here first, folks. A rat named Splinter is the hero of this cartoon. They have now begun to subtly introduce New Age philosophies and occultism and Eastern mystic beliefs to our kids. And as you just held up, this is, I think, a paint-by-number set for ages 3 and up. The marketing of this is making a lot of money, but it is also introducing at a very young age the idea that violence is an acceptable end to, or a means to an end, and also that New Age philosophies are a norm for our kids. And as we see this creeping in daily into the media, and our kids being exposed to it even in public schools and so on, this is just part of what's going on out there. The Turtles crawl out of New York City sewers and come on the scene, and of course they're very heroic. There's been 2 motion pictures made with the Mutant Ninja Turtles. Let me hold this one character up. This is one of the villains of the Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now remember, folks, when we say villains, the hero is using white magic or Eastern mystic good powers, such as Star Wars taught us, the good side of the Force, and the bad guys are using the bad powers, the black side of the Force.
But they're the same powers, are they?
Yes, the same powers exactly. When you look at it from a biblical viewpoint, it's white and black magic, which is a fallacy, as we all know right here at the table.
And Paul, I think people need to understand as well the background of ninjas. As Eric pointed out, the Mutant Ninja Turtles are presented as heroes. In all actuality, ninjutsu began approximately 400 years ago in feudal Japan. Ninjas were assassins. They were mercenaries. They were not good people. They were not heroes. They were very well practiced in martial arts. In fact, a ninja would start training at probably 2 or 3 years of age to make them almost supermen. They were able to do things that the common man can't simply because of the years and years of rigorous practice. But as I said, they weren't heroes. They weren't good people. They were assassins. Now we have them presented as heroes, as good guys fighting bad guys. But it's important to realize that ninjas would go to any lengths in order to kill their victims. They were well versed in poisoning techniques. We have weapons here, toys, that are replicas of ninja weapons.
Once again, it's ages 3 and up.
That's right. And this, as you see here, a star or a circle here, the ninjas would have these. They're called shurikens. They would dip these in poison and throw them at the victim, usually striking the victim in the eye, and it would cause death. Now, shurikens are illegal in Canada, as are nunchucks, which is another weapon. We don't have a sample here, but the Ninja Turtles do use a weapon known as nunchucks, 2 pieces of wood attached with a leather cord or a chain. They are also illegal weapons in Canada because of how dangerous they are. And yet we have these heroes using them in front of the children on cartoons.
And it would certainly be easy for the children to make their own real versions just by copying off these so-called harmless plastic versions.
That's right. And here we have balisong knives or butterfly knives. These are also banned. They're illegal weapons, and yet they are presented in these cartoons as being, as you said earlier, just like cops and robbers with the guns and bows and arrows and so on. As I said, it's important for people to understand the background of ninjutsu. It is not pleasant. There's nothing pure about it, nothing good about it. They certainly should not be passed off as heroes.
And you know, I can just hear a parent saying out there, well, my kids aren't going to do that. They just like the action of the movie or the cartoon or the toys or the games or all the other merchandise we see here that has to do with the Turtles. Our kids aren't going to get involved with that. Well, wait a second. I had a clipping given to me at one of our seminars up in Thunder Bay, Ontario, is where it was. This is a clipping from a South African newspaper where 2 little boys, 5 years old and 1 8, were caught tearing up a nursery school in the middle of the night on a Friday night. They had slipped out of their homes. And
How old were these guys?
They were 5 years old and the other one was 8. There were 3 boys, 2 of them were 5, one was 8. They were caught tearing up a nursery school, and they said they were Ninja Turtles who had run amok. They were emulating, carrying out in their minds, and most psychologists would tell us that up until about age 6 or 7, most of our kids can't discern 100% of the time what is fantasy and what is reality. These kids were living in the fantasy world, which they had assumed was reality, that they were perfectly capable, able, and it was okay for them to do what they'd seen in the cartoons.
And here we have the weapons being sold to them, recommended ages 3 and up.
And the toys help to increase that idea.
Chuck, maybe you could add a little bit more about the spiritual aspect of the Turtles.
Yes, in fact, that's a very good point. Spiritually speaking, the ninjas were well trained in occult practices, in black magic. It wasn't a joke to them, it wasn't hocus pocus. They were raised in this, and they believed it strongly. Now, a lot of people, even Christians, sometimes doubt spiritual powers. You talk about black magic, and they doubt it. They doubt that it's possible. Whether you believe that or not, the fact remains that ninjas were incredibly powerful people. As I said earlier, they go to any lengths to reach their victims and assassinate them in whatever manner they needed to in order to achieve their goal. In fact, ninjas were so hated that if one was ever caught, they were always tortured before killed. Not just killed, because they were dreaded. People hated them. They feared for their lives knowing that ninjas were around. These people were trained, as I said, from infancy in the ways of black magic.
The ninjas were the most feared people of that era. There's no doubt about it. But now we've popularized them with the Mutant Ninja Turtles. And obviously we're spending a lot of time on this, but they are by far running away with the market of toys and the cartoon industry.
Well, when you speak about them starting early, I have right here teething biscuits. Ninja Turtle teething biscuits. So I guess that's, I don't know how old you are when you start cutting your teeth, but certainly not very old. And if you go straight from teething biscuits and the little ravioli we looked at earlier right into these weapons, then it can certainly take over a child's entire life.
Let me bring up one other point too. I'm sure that there are skeptical parents who are good Christians who say, but you guys are really out of balance. I mean, why are you bringing all this stuff up? This is harmless. My kids will know better. I'm taking them to church every Sunday. The other kids at church have the same things. You know what?
I mean, being paranoid.
Yeah, my kids are they're gonna feel like they're the odd man out if I tell them they can't have this stuff. But our responsibility as parents is not to please our kids, though that's fine at times. It certainly is a must to be good parents. Mm-hmm. Our responsibility is, what does God say about us agreeing with this stuff and funding these items, and in essence giving to our kids, basically throwing this stuff at our kids and saying, go ahead, be just like this. That's what we're doing unless we're careful. I'm not into being paranoid, and we're certainly not here to teach that. It's not the purpose of this video or this discussion here. But we as parents must realize what is going on today and must understand how the forces of darkness don't always appear evil. The devil doesn't come up and knock on your door and say, hi, I'm the devil, recognize me. He comes as an angel of light, and oftentimes he'll slip in any area where we have an open door, where we're just aloof. We must remember the devil's got a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week job, and that's to kill, steal, and destroy. And he's always on that mission. We can't let our guard down. We need to have the armor on, be ready for spiritual warfare, and realize this is part of spiritual warfare, that our kids are under attack every day, subtly in some cases, very blatantly and boldly in others. But however it comes at us, we've got to be ready, and our kids, need the answer as to why these things are wrong before they're faced with these things next door or at school or with the kids down the block or wherever. If our kids know what is wrong with this stuff and know why this is evil, why it's wrong, why it's anti-biblical, then they have a whole lot better chance of being able to resist it themselves.
Well, one thing that parents need to tell their children as well is that sometimes to be a good Christian, you have to be the odd man out. And it's not always going to be easy decisions. And like you say, with all their kids, all their friends playing with this, and everything seems to have turtles written all over it for the kids now. Sometimes they need to know that it is a difficult choice, but the right one nonetheless.
That's right.
Well.